When thinking about HPV persistence, one thing that women are not told enough about is the vaginal microbiome and the role of probiotics. In the next 5 minutes, I'll tell you how the gut and vaginal microbiomes influence HPV persistence, and I'll give you 3 evidence-based ways to start supporting it. Actually, microbiome health is one of 6 biological factors linked to HPV persistence. I covered the others in upcoming videos. For anyone who wants all 6 explained properly, I have put a link to the 6 hidden roadblocks to clearing HPV guide in the description box. I am Dr. Rosemary Nyabadza, a UK doctor, founder of the HPV Hub, and creator of the Immuni-P supplement range. I had persistent HPV myself, and the microbiome research was one of the most interesting things that I learned on that journey. In every video here, I will give you one thing that you can implement immediately. So most women who have persistent HPV and have done the research have probably picked up a probiotic at some point. So that's not the problem, because that instinct is correct. The problem is that the take a probiotic advice is not giving an indication of what's actually happening in the microbiome, why it matters for HPV specifically, and what the research is pointing to. So most women end up either ignoring the microbiome entirely because nobody at their appointments told them to take a probiotic, or they buy a probiotic based on just what's available at the pharmacy without knowing that there are specific bacteria that the research points to. So the research shows that a healthy vaginal microbiome is dominated by lactobacillus species. These bacteria produce lactic acid, and lactic acid keeps the vaginal pH low. This acidic environment is less hospitable to HPV infection and persistence. Studies have found that women with persistent HPV infections have less stable and less diverse vaginal microbiomes than women who clear the virus. So when this imbalance or dysbiosis occurs, the lactobacillus population drops, the pH of the vagina rises, local inflammation increases, and the cervical environment becomes more susceptible to HPV persistence. This disruption can be caused by things like antibiotic use, gut microbiome imbalance, and vaginal douching. So the mechanism is pH, inflammation, and immune signaling, and they're all mediated in part by the bacteria living there. So here are 3 ways to support the gut and vaginal microbiome based on what the evidence actually shows. Step 1 is to understand what the research points to. So the research consistently links lactobacillus bacteria as a genus to a protective vaginal environment and lower HPV persistence. Preliminary trials have shown promise for lactobacillus strains in restoring vaginal bacterial balance and supporting HPV clearance. Lactobacillus crispatus is the front runner at the moment. However, a diverse microbiome of different lactobacillus species is important. So if you're going to be choosing a probiotic, choose one with diverse lactobacilli in it. The research is still out on a specific CFU number. Step 2 is to feed the bacteria that are already there. Like you, good bacteria need to eat as well, and they have their favorite foods. This is called prebiotic fiber. 25 to 35 grams a day of fiber from whole foods supports the gut bacterial environment, which in turn supports the vaginal bacterial environment. When you're thinking of prebiotic fiber, you are specifically looking for things like asparagus, leeks, onions, and garlic. Additionally, regularly including fermented foods also boosts the amount of good bacteria in the body. Here you're thinking about things like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, miso, and sauerkraut. Step 3 is to remove the things that actively disrupt the balance. Douching is one of the most direct ways to disrupt the vaginal microbiome because it flushes out the very lactobacillus species that the research links to protection. Scented products and harsh soaps in the vaginal area do the same thing. Of course, avoiding unnecessary antibiotics is important, but when antibiotics are genuinely needed, then taking a probiotic at the same time to replenish any lost bacteria is important. This kind of bacterial replacement should be taken alongside and after the course of antibiotics. So the research links a lactobacillus dominant environment to lower HPV persistence risk. And so rather than just buying any probiotic and hoping for the best, make sure that it has a diverse range of lactobacillus species. Every one of the steps I've mentioned today can be started independently this week. And remember that the microbiome is only one of 6 biological factors that are linked to HPV persistence, and so targeting it alone is unlikely to be enough. But thinking about all 6 in combination will give the microbiome the best chance of making a difference. If you want that 6 hidden roadblocks to clearing HPV guide, you'll find the link in the description box below. That guide lays out all 6 factors in one place, so the microbiome sits alongside all the others, and it becomes clear how they connect and compound each other.